Hello, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining in today's live. Today is the 16th episode of the Author Collaborative, which I have been doing since the past 4 to 5 months now, where I interact with the authors whose books I have recently read and enjoyed. Today, I am going to be talking to another fellow author whose book I read and enjoyed. And the reason actually I enjoyed his book so much is because his writing and his stories are very similar to my own style of writing. He writes slice of life stories, which I was very easily able to relate to, and more so, his stories also are inspired from real life incidents, and they are very they tend to have a moralistic lesson at the end. They tend to give out a very important message through the story, and I'm very excited to talk to him. So I'm going to add him to the live session now, and we are going to go ahead and have a wonderful chat. Hey, hi Ashwini.
Hi Manali. Sorry for being a bit late.
That's okay, no problem. So I actually went live already 4 to 5 times, so I think we have lost out on the viewers already quite a bit.
Oh, okay,
That's okay,
okay.
that's okay. The video is going to be available on my Instagram and my YouTube channel, so people are going to be able to watch it later also.
No, sorry, I think there was a bit of a glitch or misunderstanding, but I think finally we are there.
No, no problem. So Ashwini, as I was saying, before inviting you to the live, I was telling the viewers that this is the 16th episode of the Author Collaborative, and as I have been talking to many various fellow authors on the Instagram live, but the reason I'm excited about you is that because I find your writing style very similar to mine, and the stories that I have read in your book, they were. It felt like they could be part of my book as well, and they were very similar to what I write. So please tell the audience first of all about your books and about yourself.
Sure. So firstly, thanks Manali. Thanks for inviting me. For to this forum. I think it's a very wonderful forum where people can exchange ideas and can talk about their aspirations and learn from each other. So it's pretty good. Firstly, I commend that. It's very nice. Talking about myself, I will let me admit I'm not a professional writer, not a full-time writer. I am actually program director in the IT field in telecom and such. So writing happens to me as a passion, right? I do it, when when I'm driven to that, when I like doing it. So it's more than just doing as a it's more than hobby. It's more of a passion, and you like to do the things. Now, a short story that you are referring to, Manali, that happened to be my third book, actually, as a matter of fact, which I wrote last year. I mean, it we published last year on Kindle.
Hmm.
So the book, like I said, the intent of Manali writing or my inclination towards writing had been there for quite some time. But I mean, due to the, whatever the availabilities or maybe the hassles in the career, I mean, uh, but anyways, we started around 3 years back. So this was my third book, and the intent had been always that we should be writing something that is message driven. There has to be some message, some morals, some takeaways, right? People should be able to, there has to be some message that you're conveying as such. But at the same time, it has to be entertaining. I mean, we should not be just too much preachy. So I have tried to keep a mix of both of them. Now, this, I think, the idea had been I mean, very honest that nowadays, I think there are too many, masala flavor of books that are coming in, right? Too extreme, either talking too highly psychological drama, either it's too comic, making too sarcastic. But we are missing the real life touch, right? Which used to be there. If you look, the Prem Chand of our times, which we used to read, right? I mean, the social issues, the simple, the simple and humble things which we have been missing as such, and which I think we as all individuals, I think last year, um, where actually we all witnessed, right? That there are a lot of things that we are just unnecessarily dragged towards, and the basics of that is what we need. So that probably drove me towards this writing the stories. And as you could have read, probably I didn't stick to one particular genre. It was just to say that we have the platter of genre, right? Right from horror, history. maybe some of comic relief as well, and some emotionals and all that as well.
Yeah, so that was what I was telling the viewers as well, because in my book also, which you have also read and which was my recent release, The Art of
Right.
Being Grateful. All of my stories, they are very slice of life stories. As someone very rightly pointed out to me in one of the live sessions, it's like reading about your own friend or your own neighbor or your own family. The stories were such, and I felt that connection in your stories also, which is why I enjoyed them. Without further ado, I am very excited to ask you certain questions related to your book and other writing stuff.
Sure, sure.
Shall
Please
I
go ahead.
begin?
Sure, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Yes. My first question to you is, just a minute, I had them open. Your book, Short Stories, it's a collection of stories which are, anecdotes and which are very lifelike incidents. It could have really happened. Those are the kind of incidents which the book talks about. So tell us how one can go about writing such stories.
Well, I think I mean these are definitely fiction books. I mean it's not like total. I would say the reality, but it's fictional. But you can see like it's too surrealistic, right? You might see people around such things. It's it again. I would say like so Manali, I do keep on traveling. I mean across the globe. I had been to let's say Nigeria, Saudi, a lot of places, right? And, but you will find one thing which is common: the humanness, the human factor would always be the same, right? I mean, maybe the different religion, different caste, creed, whatever it is, and that what exactly was it, right? I mean, and one or two things where that I was trying to break was the myths and perceptions, right? So if
Hmm.
you have rightly read about history lessons, right? I mean, or maybe the ghost stories, right? So there were certain myths that I had been, or maybe we all are surrounded with, right? Or perceptions which are being, built over the time, or they have been there for ages, such right? That the people have seen the ghosts, or there are
Hmm.
certain things in the histories which are somebody's bad, somebody's good, or whatever something. So the idea was just to like I said, just to write a very simple, humble story, but which has a message, something that is people can drive their own morals out of it as such, rather than dictating them that what is right and what is wrong as such.
Yes.
So that was the idea, and I keep on looking the things around, and that's how
So
it goes.
traveling and observation. That's important while writing such stories.
Yeah, I think the more you interact, more you see people, more you know, more you have an experience. That's your inputs, right? And that's how you get to know the real world as such.
I think you've already answered my next question, but still, I would like to ask again. Besides
Mhm.
short stories, which other books have you authored, and how are they different from this one?
Uh, yeah, okay, good. So Manali, I think I mentioned. So I started writing around 3 years back in 2017. So my first book was the non-fictional one.
Hmm.
It's the Fraud Friends. Very different from what you are, this one as such, because the short stories was completely fictional, right? Talking very different genres. The Fraud Friends was about actually more on focusing on the very pressing issue that we have, that the jurisdiction in India is very very weak, and there are a
Hmm.
lot of issues and people, the courtroom drama that we always see and all that. Let me show you the cover just of a book.
Of
So
course.
if you can see this,
Yes.
so this is the
Ashwini, you will have to turn your camera because here it is the mirror image. So
oh
if you turn your camera, then we can properly see the cover.
okay. Let me turn my camera, or let it 1 second. Is it
Yes.
can
Now,
you see
now
it
I
now?
can.
Yeah,
Yes.
so this is the first book that we
The
wrote,
fraud
which was
friend.
on the Fraud Friends. And this was purely on the, I would say, the jurisdiction, and maybe it's a satirical, the black comedy kind of a thing. So again,
Okay.
trying to pass on the message with the solutions.
Okay.
And this was my second one that we released in
Malhotra.
2018, Kalapuda, which was psychological drama, and you can say maybe this was purely
Okay.
fictional crime thriller, and very entertaining. So, and this was third one was very different installment altogether. Yeah.
And you have a sequel coming, if I have heard right? Kala Ghoda is having a sequel coming out soon, correct?
Yes. Very soon. I think. I hope within. I think probably by Feb we should be ready to release it.
Oh, that's wonderful, wonderful. All the best to
Thank,
you for that.
thank you so much. Thank you so much. What's
Okay.
going on at your end? I mean, what are you doing? I mean, if I can, what's your
We will come
agenda?
to my questions later.
Okay, take it. Carry on.
Yes, so
Carry on.
my next question to you is for the all the budding writers out there who are just starting out, or maybe someone who's established and looking out for improving their writing style or writing
Mhm.
narrative. So, what are your three top writing tips that you would give out to such?
Okay, so Manali, to be very fair and frank, see, with three books, I would say I'm still, even I'm learning as such. But just as a to my fellow colleagues and to my friends, what I can say, I mean, my way of looking at things is first, like I said, your initial inputs, read, observe
Hmm.
things. So inputs are very important, right? That's the core, right? I mean, that's the first thing. Second, while in the process, I think editing is very important, which I've learned over the time that, maybe, so I would say, as what typically people say, edit, and edit. It's very important. And it will have multiple perceptions. Don't just rely on one edit or one person's view
Hmm.
for the proofreading, take some feedbacks, and it does help, right? Does help in enhancing the overall, your storytelling technique altogether, right? And last but not the least, I think you should be very clear on what is your audience,
Hmm.
right? Because what happens is when you start, right, I think you should be very clear of why you're writing this book. What's the message?
Right.
What's your intent of writing this? Um, See, I mean, everybody have their own intents, and there is nothing wrong with writing to this. Some people write it for commercial reasons. Some want to be famous, right? Some wanted to be passing their message. I think
Hmm.
most of us start because we are mostly, we all humans come from the same old techniques of telling stories to our, kids or maybe our families, and so we all start from there. But when you're writing a certain stories, right, I think it's important and it's very, very pertinent that whatever you're writing, your intent should be very clear and honest to the end, right? That you're trying to just make it commercial drama, fantastic, go for it. If you want to make it so maybe, but plan it well. The plotting is very, very important. And sometimes I have seen, and many times I have seen this, and that people lose the grip on the plot
Hmm.
somewhere drops, right? So, and that happens because you're trying to add too much of masala, right? You're trying to make a khichdi or some biryani that you're trying to make. So you should be very clear of what you're trying to intend, who's your audience, right? And if as long as you're clear with your audience, your end product, maybe then that's that should be there as well.
Correct. Correct. So, those were some great tips. Thank you, Ashwini. My next question to you is, since you have been writing for a while now, I want to
Mhm.
know what are the changes that you have seen in yourself from the first book till now as a writer?
Well, I think with the time we all improve and we all improvise. So yes, definitely there is a bit of a, well, I think I would say learning, and after you release your book, you get to know, learn even much more the overall process. So I think the overall process I have learned a lot. There is a lot of maturity, understanding that about the overall book publishing
Hmm.
process, right? Which I think I wasn't aware when we started with this. But more than that, I would say is the the marketing and how do you, because eventually success is very important, right? If you're able to meet that, that motivates you for the going for the next one.
Hmm.
So how do you attain your success, and defining your success criteria are very, very important and very, very essential as such. So, I would say that yes, over the period of time, the editing style, storytelling techniques, those things have definitely improved, and editing has been improved. And also, I think overall end-to-end process. So when we start certain book or as a project I start, we have a clear visibility of how are we going to end that, right? Or what is the objective. So that is what it is.
Okay. And my last question to you is that what would you say is the biggest mistake that new writers make, and how can they go about avoiding such mistakes?
Uh, so Manali, and maybe I'm repeating myself. The mistake probably most of the people do is, as like I said, right? And it happens with the famous authors as well. and that's the reason people start losing the grip and losing their audience and followerships and all that, is why you started this journey. You should be very clear on that one, right? I mean,
Hmm.
I see a lot of repetition, maybe same content in different maybe format, or maybe in different
Hmm.
different perceptions being so let's be honest with your craft. That's very important, and you should be very clear on what you're trying to intend in here. Like I'm very clear. So far I don't consider myself to be professionally ready yet to be calling myself a professional writer.
Hmm.
I know it is going to take some time, so right, I mean, so till that time, and I know very clearly I'm here to tell some good stories, interesting stories, right? Something that I want to tell, that tomorrow or maybe after a few years or whatever, somebody, people can still open the book and you will not feel embarrassed about it, that what I have written. Wait a minute. So you should be very clear on your objectives, and I think that takes you, in the long way as such. And
Okay, so
going
now
ahead to,
we move on to some fun question round, which is the rapid fire round. I have some questions which you have to answer very spontaneously without thinking much. Are you ready?
okay, okay, madam, please go ahead.
Okay, so fill in this blank. Writing is dash.
Passion. Writing is
Hmm.
passion.
Nice. If you could spend one day with a fellow author, who would you choose and why?
Fellow author would be difficult. I would actually choose Alexander Dumas. I don't know whether you've heard
Ah,
about him.
okay.
I mean, somebody whose book you will read after 200 years, right? He has written something in 1800s, and you can still relate to those books even in today's world, right?
Hmm.
Be it, the Count of Monte Cristo, Three Musketeers, and I mean, there are more than 200 movies been made of his, dramas and his literature as such. So I think
Yes.
there's a lot to learn from him, how he plots, how he defines the characters, how he, stitch the whole drama. So a lot to learn from him.
Yeah. Hmm. Inspiring answer. And your favorite fictional character?
Favorite
Don't
fiction
say
character.
Sherlock Holmes. That is very, very predictable.
Sorry, which one?
Don't say Sherlock Holmes.
No Sherlock Holmes? Okay, I will go with Superman then.
Okay. I'll give you that. A popular book that you don't like.
It's my personal choice. I mean, I'm not a Harry Potter fan, so, but yeah, it's a good book, but may not be of my taste.
Okay. Okay. And as a writer, I'm asking this: pen and paper or a laptop?
Nowadays, I would prefer laptop. It's more convenient and more, efficient that way as such.
Yes. Okay. So, Ashwini, with that, I end my barrage of questions. I leave the floor open to you. You are free to ask me any questions that you have.
Yeah. So again, thank you so much, Manali, and sorry for being late. But just quick one, I think. So since we all are here for collaboration and understanding each other, what is your inspiration as such while you're writing the book? What
Uh,
inspires you?
my As I initially only clarified that the reason I connected to your writing so well was because it is very much like my own writing, which is inspired from everyday incidents and experiences. So
Correct.
my my life and others' lives, the people who are sharing their anecdotes and experiences with me, that's the kind of writing that I do, and inspire. That's the kind of inspiration I draw from.
Okay. 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 And what are your plans? I think. What are you working on currently? I mean, what do we expect in the
So
next?
currently, one book I am already talking to publishers. A few publishers are in my mind, and that's a non-fiction book, in which I'm talking about the life stories of inspirational women. Now, these women are such who are doing more than one profession, and they are doing all the professions very successfully. And
Mm,
somebody is saying, "Can I ask a question?" Yes, of course, Abhishek. You are free to ask any question in the comment section. And besides that, I'm working on two more books. One of them is a novella, and another one is a creative nonfiction, funny nonfiction.
that's good. That's good. So there are three. Huh?
Yes, one is already done. I am already talking to publishers, so that should be done by June. I am hoping that book should be out.
That's good. That's good. Very good. I mean, good offerings and a lot of variety. Huh?
Thank you.
Very inspiring. Okay, and this I think, as a friend, typically we ask each other, right? I mean, so we all have our journey, but what was your aha moment, right? Where you said, okay, this was a compliment that, qualifies it. Now I am a writer. Now I have arrived.
It was, in fact, last year in 2020, after I released my third book, The Art of Being Grateful, which you have read. Somebody very randomly on Instagram, they sent me a message saying that they were going through a very depressive stage in their life, and my book helped them, get inspiration and gave them a hope to live. So that was like, oh my God. That was like an oh my God moment for me.
No, that's good. That's good. That's what you do. That's what the impact is. Very good. That's commendable. Okay. Now, what was the toughest criticism that you received? So, I mean, that you said, okay, this was a learning that,
Yeah, so with this book, I have, most of the people who have read it have come back and told me that they have loved the writing. But there has been some critical feedback on it, which I am planning to incorporate in my future books, and I have, in fact, started incorporating them in my writing now also. Which was that though the stories are very good, it fails on the part where it does not allow the characters to develop. The stories end at a part where the audience is just getting engaged into the story and they want to know more. So that's the kind of writing that I'm looking into. You know,
okay, okay,
telling
okay.
more about the characters.
Yep, yep, yep. No, I think that will be good. I think if you can, do that. Okay, lastly, since I think you have also written a lot of things, and of lately I've been seeing and following you as well, that a lot of comments, a lot of positive feedback coming your way as such. So, what are the tips that you would like to share with our fellow friends for promoting the
Okay.
book?
For promoting the book, I think we need to have a three-stage process for any writer. This is what I have learned from my three books so far. And with more so, I have learned it with the recent book, which is that the one is the first process is the writing of the book, which you have to give your 100% to, of course. So focus on that 100%, the content of the book. Then comes the pre-promotion, which you have to do before you release the book. And then comes the post-production, post-promotion, which you have to continue doing after you have released the book. And the post-promotion should continue regularly. It's not like you have written the book, so it's done. You need to keep promoting it. You need to keep talking about it to the right kind of audience. And though it might sometimes come off as very irritating that she's continuously talking about her book only, but you have to do it. You have to take it to your heart and take it with a pinch of salt and continue talking about it, because you don't know who out there is going to listen to you, and they are going to buy your book and appreciate it.
True, true, very true, very true. But like I think you said, I think I will again endorse that having a good product is the first thing. That's the essential
Yes.
thing, right?
Yes, that's the
That's the
most
essential.
essential thing. I have seen authors who, write very mediocre stuff and then put so much into marketing it that, it's I feel it's a wasted effort after that.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, see, I mean, like I was saying about Alexander Dumas, or maybe you say Sherlock Holmes and all that. So there are so many authors who have written the things in 1700s, Charles Dickens or Mark Twain's and all that. After 100 years, they are not around, but you can still, you would like to go back and open those books and read them. It
Yes.
gives you a lot of knowledge. So the content is the first. But yes, of course, in today's world, marketing is equally important because there's too much of noise, too much of content and everything. All right. Can I also fire some rapid
Yes,
questions
yes,
towards?
definitely.
Okay, okay. So I'll start with maybe you read my book. So which is the good? I mean, out of the eight short stories, which is the
Hmm.
good that you liked and why?
Okay, so I don't remember the title, but I think it was a ghost story where uh, all the friends have gone to a particular spot, and the caretaker
Okay.
boy over there, he's telling about his family, and he's saying that I don't believe in ghosts, but I do believe that there are monsters who are alive.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
that
yeah.
that was my favorite part, because it hits the right point. You have to take, when you are alive, you have to be a good person rather than fearing someone who's dead.
That's right. That's right. And the society is deteriorating, and I think probably maybe while we are alive and when we are around, and if we are doing the right things, that's more important than just Okay.
I am forgetting the title of that story. What was the title of that story?
It was ghost stories.
Okay.
I have put some humor into that. It was not a horror story, but it was done with some some bit of comic
Yeah,
relief as well.
it did have some dark humor in it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, somebody saying that okay, I have sent my grandfather to to Swarg bhej diya hai. Then he says, okay, please shift him to the hell, right? If that can be done, it's all nonsense. It's all anyways. Sorry, will not sidetrack that. Okay, which I think you've already mentioned you're working on quite a bit things upcoming, but which is still one genre or one story or one book which is still very close to you and you are thinking that you may have to write that. Still something that is in plan.
Okay. With my latest book, The Art of Being Grateful, very surprisingly, the first story in that book has, been a fan favorite now, Bond in Love. And I have got a lot of DMs saying, and people actually requesting me that, we want to read the story ahead. What happens after that? We are very curious and excited to know what happens after that phone call. So I have it in my mind somewhere to take the story ahead, but I have not yet started working on it. But I do have it in my plan of action.
Good, good. We'll be looking forward to read something on that. Good, good. Okay, some nasty questions as well. Which are the three books that you find is overrated?
Okay, overrated. I would say The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari and The Alchemist. I did not enjoy it. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out why The Alchemist is so popular. Uh, and I have not read it, but I have done enough with the stuff that is being said about it, which is the subtle art of not giving a fuck. I am I have yet to read it, but it's just too much out there. You are constantly hearing about it, and sometimes it becomes irritating.
Well, I think these are the, again, when you're going into very preachy tone, then people gets, too much of, that it's on gyan too much. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Also, it another reason I might be, a little off about it is because it's nonfiction. I am a person who doesn't generally read nonfiction that much.
but you like what dark stories as well, or you are just more for the, comic and,
No, no, no.
oh,
I read all sorts of nonfiction.
okay,
Sorry, fiction. Nonfiction, not
fiction.
that much.
All right. Okay. Well, lastly, what do you prefer reading through, Kindle or paperback?
I used to be a staunch paperback lover,
Mm-hmm.
but since last year, in the past 1 year, I have not read even one paperback. I'm just reading on Kindle because it's easy and also because we have not had the freedom to go out and buy books, frankly.
2020 it has changed a lot of things.
Yeah,
I, I can understand. All right, but I mean, there is a still, reading the paperback has its own,
it
charm.
has its own charm. No doubt about that.
All right, so I'm planning to publish my, eventually I will take my short stories to be printed soon. Let's see.
Oh,
Uh,
wonderful. All the best for
last,
that. I do hope it comes out in paperback.
thank you so much, thank you so much. Lastly, Manali, I think so. If you would have not been a writer, what you would have been?
Oh, if I so somebody had already asked me this before, I think, but it had to be something related to books. So if I'm not writing books, I am selling books. As simple as that.
That's
So
right.
it would either be a bookstore or a library.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's good. That's good. That's good. Okay. That's all from my end. I mean, any questions? Anything that
Abhishek has asked you, have you ever faced a writer's block and how did you overcome it?
can you just clarify a bit? Writer's block.
Uh, he's asking you, have you faced a writer's block and how to overcome it? Writer's block, as in sometime when you are not able to write at all. That's a writer's block.
No, no, I understand that, but so Abhishek, I think we all go through that. There will be always few days where you can write, you're in the rhythm to write the things. Sometimes you're not able to do that. So I think disciplined approach, like I told you, I think I take each of the book as a project, right? With the timelines, with the schedule, and then I keep on tracking it. I mean, sorry from, it's my management habits. So I always follow that, right? That, I mean, if I'm starting this in the next 3 months, at least my first draft should be ready, or, then this is my milestones and all that. So I track it very closely. So that helps in keeping yourself on the tab, making sure that there
Targeting
is
and
some
scheduling.
timelines. Yeah, because endlessly if you just keep on working. So I clearly have milestones, right? Even if anybody in my team is also working, there's a milestones for editing. There is a milestone, and I challenge myself as well. So it's always important that you challenge yourself, right? Don't get into complacency mode that you're driving everybody and you're sitting back, right?
Hmm.
There had been days I have written 5,000 to 10,000 words as well. I'm not exaggerating. This actually I did it. This is typically the Christmas time or off. You might remember Manali. I reached out to you that
Yes.
I may be finishing this. It is happening. This is what we're going to do. But there is a milestone. There's a timeline that you set. Then you work towards a target. So targets are important. Milestones are important. So plan it well. I think that will help.
Okay, that's wonderful advice. And in case anyone else who has joined us, if you have any questions, Ashwini and I are done asking questions to each other. We are now answering questions of the audience. So if you have any questions for us, please ask in the comments.
And I mean,
So
I know some
yes,
people are not here, but I'm apologizing again. I'm sorry I got a bit late.
that's
There was
okay.
some misunderstanding, but yeah.
The video will get many views on YouTube and IGTV later. It doesn't matter. I have come to realize that even if people are not coming on your Instagram live, they will go back and watch it on your IGTV.
Yeah. Yes, I think digital things are helping a lot. It's pretty good.
Yes.
Pretty good.
So, but to whoever is in the live audience right now with us, if you have any questions for us, please ask in the comments. Ashwini and I will be happy to answer any questions related to books and writing or anything in general. If you have any questions, just ask. What was the KPI target of success you set for your first book?
Okay. So, like I said, Abhishek, I think good question. Uh, Looks like you're also from IT field, huh? KPI and all that. Good. But yeah, there was when we did this, the fraud friends. This was the intent was very novel. As a matter
Hmm.
of fact, if you go and check on the Amazon, it's not written by me. It's written by my son, who was 16 years at that time. So I was just guiding him. It started as a project. He said, I want to do this. So we have not set any standard goals to say that, I need to sell 200 books or 300 books. So that was learning. But I will say for second book, we have defined certain KPIs, right? Because that's the time when we had lessons. So for that, I have set up that number, right? That at least whatever I'm going to be investing, I'll be investing very, very, like I said, sorry, this may sound a bit of a business kind of discussion, but trust me, the first video that I saw, something like this, was of Mr. Ashwin Sanghi, and he motivated me. He taught me exactly, how do you plan your cost for the book as well, right? Because that's going to be deriving the price of the book. How do you
Hmm.
cost the book? How many? So each word that you put in, right? Each word you put in takes up your space, it takes up the page, it takes up the cost. So be very conscious about, how much the cost you want to write, what is the content that you're writing, how you want to do pricing. So my basic goal was to make sure that I'm not going to be making any loss, right? I mean, so far in none of my books I have made loss. We make sure that whatever investment that we have done, because all of my books have been self-published. We never went to a publisher, right? So, yeah, but we made sure that we are not just recovering but making a money as well, because that's important, that you are doing the right thing, um, and also you have enough fuel to back, which is coming back to you to refill yourself and go for the next one. So success is very important, guys. If you keep on failing, the motivation starts going low. But set your goals right. So my KPI for the second book was very clear: not to have any losses. On the first book as well, we didn't have any losses. As a matter of fact, just as a marketing tip, we even went to school, certain schools, certain events, right? Because the first book that we were talking about was actually bringing a change. We even went to certain bank authorities. I mean, I will not take the names right now, but this was actually to say that how we can reduce the crime in the society. The idea
Hmm.
was very noble. We were not trying to bring or sell the book at that point of time, but yes, the idea was very noble, and it reached to the right audience to an extent. And I don't know, I will not like to brag, but you are seeing some differences happening, the digital economy coming and all that. So things happen. I've gone to personally meet the police commissioner of Mumbai. I've gone personally to meet the police commissioner in Pune, and we presented these books to them.
That's
So
great, Ashwini. That was very inspiring. Whatever tips you have given out, even for me, that was a learning bit. That whatever you answered in this question.
we all learn
Thank you.
from each other. We all learn from each other. The thing is
Yes,
like,
yes, definitely. So that was the whole idea behind starting this author collaborative, because we are constantly learning. Nobody can say that
yes.
I know everything.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Like I said, I learned it from Mr. Ashwin Sanghi, and I would like to again, echo that again. Something similar session. I was watching some video, and he was actually educating how you should write the book, how you should cost the book, how you should market the book, everything. And that's how you learn. And that's the reason I'm here to give back of whatever we know as such. And we are still learning.
That's great. I think somebody has asked another question. I am not sure if this is asked to me or you, but I think it is me because I also review books. So
Mhm.
somebody has asked if you had to choose between being a reader forever or being a writer forever, what would you choose? Oh my God. This is Sophie's choice.
Read
Oh,
forever. Good,
I
good,
think
good.
I'm going to choose reading because then I can write also about those books. So yeah, I'm
Correct,
going to choose reading.
correct. Reading gives you the knowledge, dear. It's important to have the knowledge, then you can impart the knowledge.
Yes, yes, definitely. Okay, we have a few other people also who have joined. So the new people who have joined us, if you have any questions for me or Ashwini, please ask us in the comments before we log out and end today's session. We'll be happy to answer 2, 5 questions, whatever questions you have for us. This has been a very interesting session, Ashwini. Thank you so much. And I think somebody commented also that this session was very interesting. So thank you. Thank you for saying that.
You're
Yes,
welcome, dear.
the man maniac has said this live was interesting. Thank you. Thank you, Key. So, the Man Maniac is actually somebody I follow on Bookstagram. She's also a book reviewer and she has been a very kind soul who has read my book, and in fact, she engages on my posts very much. So, thank you.
No, no, thanks everybody. Thanks everybody for joining, and sorry for the guys who we missed. But anyways, I think I hope we could bring some
Yes,
at least some value
I
to
hope
you.
the session was productive for you. More than anything else, I hope the session has been productive.
Correct, correct, correct.
So Abhishek and who books and Martini. Oh, thanks Ashwini for taking time out. I love to see another corporate guy like me into writing. So
Oh,
let me tell you about Abhishek Ashwini. He is another fellow author whose book I recently read, and he is going to be a guest on the author collaborative in the coming months. Probably in the
okay,
mid of February, he's going to. I'm going to do a session with him as well. But his book, uh, Lollipops to Cigarettes, it's a very nostalgic read. If you are someone who grew up in the 80s and 90s in India, you will love that book. So do check it out.
I will. It's an interesting title as such. Lollipop to cigarettes.
Lollipops to Cigarettes.
Ah, okay, okay, okay. I get the good, good. It's good.
Yes.
Nice, nice,
So
nice.
thank you, Abhishek, for joining us today and being so active in the live session. You made it very interesting.
Thanks, Abhishek. Thank you.
So I don't think anybody else has any questions for us, and so I think we should end today's session here. Thank you,
Sure.
Ashwini, for joining me and being a part of the author collaborative. I really had a good time chatting with you. It was a very engaging and productive session for me as well.
No, no,
Books
you're
and
welcome.
Martin. Yes, that's
Yeah,
an
it's an
interesting title.
interesting.
Yes, that is not my book. It's uh,
Abhishek.
Abhishek Bhattacharya's book, which is called Lollipops to Cigarettes. Please go and check out his Instagram handle where he talks about the book. And you can go and check my Bookstagram account, which is called bookishwitch88, where I have reviewed his book. So you can check out my review and then make a decision whether you want to buy the book or not. But I would definitely recommend the book. Okay, so Ashwini, as I was saying, today's session has been very interesting. Thank you for joining me, and thank you to everyone of the viewers Firstly, sorry for making the live session, come on and off so many times, and then we were finally able to do it. But in case you have missed out on the entire session, you can check it out on my IGTV and my YouTube channel, where I'll be uploading it right after we end this. And I hope you'll join me again next Saturday with another fellow author, where I'll be continuing to talk about books and writing. Okay, Ashwini, thank you for joining. Good night. Have a great day ahead. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. Thank you so much, guys. Bye bye. Bye.
Bye.